Nice. Hey, there we go. All right, hold on. See here, change the name. God damn. See here.
And I see Commissioner Cruz is on.
Hey, can you guys hear me? I'm back on.
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
All right, nice.
Okay, is the mayor on? Okay, I see the mayor.
I am.
Is Vice Mayor Hay on? Vice Mayor Hay? Okay, he's not on. We got some pretty cool names on the participant list right now. I like it.
Did you see the one earlier?
I did. All right. So, okay, Commissioner Kelly, she's on. So we got Andrew, do you
I'm
mind
here.
texting the vice mayor?
He's doing it now.
Okay. Or either Candace, you can do it either way, either one. And I'm gonna give it like 2 more minutes and see if he hops on. Hey, Alan, is Andrew R on? Okay, Andrew, you hear me?
He's on a plane.
He's on a plane, so he's not going to be able to speak.
Yeah, Dan, I'm here.
Hey,
I'm
we
here.
got a lot of these change orders as far as like adding to the I know the Centos one. We got some other with the tire treads as far as making budget add-ons. I just want you to speak briefly because there's probably like 6 of them I saw on the agenda, and I want you to just provide a background on why those were happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I got you.
All right. Oh, Pastor Bob's going to be giving the invocation. I haven't seen him in a while.
Dan,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Hayes attempting to log in, so Andrew is sending him something to his phone. So you can
Okay.
give him another minute.
Yeah, I will. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, guys. And I'm just go over 3A, some of the announcements, and then the administrative. And then we'll, if Vice Mayor Hay hasn't logged in yet, we'll give it 2 more minutes before we get to consent. So 3A, presentation by the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 5335 of Boynton Beach. Veterans of Foreign Wars will be presenting a framed crochet American flag to the city of Boynton Beach in appreciation for the city's support of the local veteran community. This is going to be led by Jim Sizik, who he does a lot of our veteran events in the city for us. So Jim's going to be leading that presentation. 3B, I know there was some questions from
Dan, if I
Commissioner.
may.
Yeah, no, I was going to turn it over to you, Commissioner Turkin.
Awesome, thank you. Hey, so I think this is a great thing. I fully support this proclamation designating Boynton Beach as a Purple Heart City, and I deeply value, obviously, the service of all of our veterans and military families. Right, we typically honor them every November, and when we talk about proclamations, I think the idea is they should be altruistic and symbolic. Right, it should not be internal acknowledgments. When I look at what we did 3 years ago, with the Military Families and Veterans Month in Boynton Beach, not once did I mention myself, right? I think when we do these proclamations, they're for the community. You know, we know how awesome our staff is and how hard they work day in and day out. So, I see that a staff member proposed this, a staff member's receiving this. I don't want to give the perception that, we're just going to do proclamations, without involving the community, right? Because ultimately that's what we're here for, right? We are serving the community. They are our boss. They are the ones funding each and every single one of our positions. And I think that we should be community focused when we perform any proclamation, and that we look at including members of the community, regardless if it's staff or not, right? So I'd like to either table this item, or we reach out to some members of the community that are Purple Hearts and have someone receive this in conjunction, right? Obviously, we want to honor all of our veterans that work for the city, that live in the city, that are outside of the city. That's something the city has done a lot of, over the last few years. But I think we need to be altruistic when we discuss proclamations, because I didn't even notice this until yesterday, right? And I just don't like the optics of I don't like someone asking for a proclamation and then giving it to themselves. I don't think that's right, and I think that anything we do as far as honor or service should be given altruistically to other people. That's just my opinion. But I would like to engage the community when we're honoring our veterans.
I
Ted.
understand.
Ted, you got your hand raised?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner, for that
I think
feedback.
the mayor was talking.
Oh,
I think the mayor has something
Okay.
to say.
That's okay. I didn't raise my hand. I do see where you're going with this, Commissioner Turkin, and I have received some feedback. It's the guy from Sterling Village, the veteran there, who has been asking for us to do something more inclusive. So if we do, I'd like to have him added into this.
Understood.
Dan, we're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Thanks.
We're clear. Ted, we'll talk offline.
all right.
So 5A is the administrative board appointments. I believe Commissioner Cruz has 2 of those appointments. Andrew, who has a third? So it looks like we have Wendy Chalsaint for Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals. Abby Canton for the Historical Resources
Cruz.
Preservation.
It should be Cruz.
Right, and then you got Cruz has 2, and then the last one.
And then Bill Perkins for the Senior Advisory Board.
There you go. That's Amy Kelly.
Yeah, I
Amy-
wanted to I wanted to ask, did we look to see, I did receive an email from city clerk, but I think the question was like, can I give a specific name? That was not really the intent to like give a specific name. It was more like anybody who submitted an application since the last appointment should be on there. So that was kind of my question. Were there any others that
So,
submitted that maybe were not on there? Not sure, but
so
that's
hi, this is Maylee. I do have, so the only other two that are not on the list are ones that applied for this CRAB board, the CRA advisory board, because we have no appointments
6:30.
available. There's no positions that are available. So those are the only two other ones, but all the other ones on here that have come in since the last meetings.
okay. So how do we when somebody submits an application, is it like a paper app or is it like online? How does it work?
It's online through the advisory board. We have an application on our website on the page, on the advisory board page, and it comes directly to us. That's why I was asking for a name, so that way I can like do a quick search to see if one came through that like didn't come through to me specifically. They should all come through, but I wanted to do a search. That's why I requested a name.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I didn't want to give a specific name again because I just want to make sure that like everybody who's applying, just wanted to make sure nobody's falling through the cracks. So for sure there was nobody else that applied.
No, those were the only three, and then there were two people that applied for the CRAB board, but there's no positions open. That's why they're not on the list.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Millie.
If I may. Sean, are you on?
I am.
Hey, real quick, in regards to the advisory boards,
Yes.
if, because this is, and this has been like an ongoing thing and, it's, I think it's just the timing of people applying. And then when it comes, to the agenda and how it needs to be published a week prior, if a commissioner or the mayor has been or contacted by someone in the community and they're like, hey, I applied for this board, blah, blah, blah. Do they have the authority to present that application the night of or get that on the agenda as an applicant? Because if my colleagues had someone that they had talked to and they trust and they vetted and it's their appointment for that specific seat in that board, I'm personally fine with being okay with that because their appointment, they're doing the vetting. And so what I don't want to happen is we miss people who want to participate and volunteer and they're not able to because of, a delay and timeline and everything. So I guess what I'm looking for is just clarification. If like, for example, if Commissioner Cruz had somebody, she's vetted them, they want to be on the board, and they're not listed as an applicant, but she has the resume and she can disperse that, I'm okay to move forward. Is there a mechanism where in that situation we could move forward with consensus?
So one of the things that's on the agenda actually is an ordinance, which is the first reading relating to our advisory board. So that is certainly something that our ordinance doesn't currently address. And it's something we could address in that ordinance that we're going forward right now. But because it's not addressed currently, it's certainly something you could do, but it's also something we clarify in the ordinance. The only thing I would say is there are certain requirements. So, you know, I think
Can
it
I?
wouldn't, go ahead.
It would be
There
contingent, I guess,
there
on the
are
board,
certain,
right?
there are certain requirements that we have
I
to
have.
double, such as that we have to make sure that they're registered voters. That's like one of the main requirements.
So,
And so those are things that we double check before we put people on the
so
board.
Maylee, I think the way we could do it is a commissioner could appoint someone subject to verification by the city clerk
Mhm.
as to their eligibility. Because
And
right
the-
now,
Right.
they're
Well-
verifying the eligibility before we put their name available. And there's nothing that precludes us from doing it on the back end.
And just for paperwork purposes, I would prefer that there is an application, so that way we have paperwork that shows that they specifically applied for a specific board. Because we like to keep the documentation for that. But if it's subject to that, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Maylee,
Yes.
can I be heard? Does anybody hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can hear you.
Got you loud and clear, Vice Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I just have a challenge to that process, because to me, that's saying that, I could bring somebody up at the last minute at the meeting, and I want them to be on this board, and they volunteered, and if we pass that, I think if you're gonna be a vibrant, good board, not board member, well, board member, yeah, committee member, you need to follow the rules. And that is to get an application in, so it can be vetted, so it can be looked at. And I think we open up a can of worms by, it may be several people come up now and challenge, they want to be on that board. And I think it's just not worth it. Follow the rules, get your application in on time, okay? So it can go through the process, and then we select. But opening up this thing for anybody at the last minute, I don't go along with that.
Yeah, I think the problem is though, is that people apply and then they're not on the agenda and then it gets moved forward and they're like, hey, I applied. And then they're like
Yeah.
kind of disengaged. You know what I
So
mean? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, why you
So the
bother
problem-
applying? Like the
Well, we need to
message that-
figure out.
We're
need
not to figure out why
why
they
that's
are not,
happening.
right, why is
Yeah,
that
right.
happening?
But, and so what I'm saying is there's a issue with process, right? And we should not allow the issue with process derail people who want to serve, right? Because if you're super motivated, you're like, oh yeah, well, we didn't get your application in time. That's to nobody's fault, right? That's just of our current process. Why should we allow an opportunity in the process derail people who want to serve or disengage?
Yeah.
Because then what happens is people go, all right, well, I applied, and they talk to their neighbors, and they go, well, don't bother because, when I applied for a board, they told me X, Y, and Z, and they're like, nah, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of
Right.
times, when I discuss this with people, they're like, I don't know, I know. I'm like, well, you might, maybe you like it, maybe you want to get involved, And then when at the very beginning, right, we all first impression, right? First impressions are everything, and I think right now, I don't think it's a matter of like anyone's fault, but like the first impression and what the process is isn't working. At least from the last 3 or 4 years I've been here, it has not been working. And so maybe that's a different conversation at a different time to look at the process. But I do want to at least allow an option that if we have somebody that's motivated, right? Or maybe they're on vacation, they come back and they want to be appointed. Whatever the case may be, we should not allow like a simple logistic to deter them.
Right.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I guess we're just going to talk over each other tonight. So I understand Commissioner Turkin, your point. My issue, and I think we've been handling it appropriately where we table it if we know. But I think that to Maylee's point, if she doesn't have a name or any information so she can go back and see what happened, all we know is that somebody said, oh, I applied, but did they apply correctly? Did they submit everything appropriately? Are they on the list? Did they go through the vetting process and they're missing something? Or so I think there has to be also accountability. If you've heard somebody say, I've applied, okay, let me connect you with the clerk's office who can find out the status of your application and see where you are and report back to you if there's something missing or what the status is. Because like Maylee said, there were 2 applicants. It could be one of the ones that Commissioner Cruz brought up that applied for the CRA board and there's no vacancies. And so the application was appropriately vetted and processed, but there aren't positions available. So I think I agree with you, there has to be a process, but I don't think bringing somebody up at the last minute and saying, oh, well, I know that John Smith wants to be on the senior advisory board, and he says he swears he put in his application and he qualifies, that then we can appoint them. And then we're appointing them and then we find out they're not eligible. And so then they have to get retracted. And so then I think we're creating more work for us and we're creating more work for the clerk. And I think it's going to end up looking messier for us than if we just figure out what the process is now, where the loopholes in the process are, what needs to be cleaned up, and then have a point person so that when any of us comes across somebody that says, oh, well, I did apply, but I didn't hear back. I mean, you have to remember too, we get to select, there could be 5 people and we didn't pick the person who applied and really wanted to be on the board. So, I think to know the process and to see where the issues are, I think there has to be more information that's provided in order for us to actually see if there's a true issue that needs to be addressed.
My
So I
point
think
exactly.
the key word, I don't know if you guys weren't listening or what, is if the commissioner vetted, the commissioner vetted them, right? Then they should be, if I have someone that wants to apply for a board, I'm like, all right, there's an issue here. They're not on. I'm vetting you. I look at the city, you're good to go. I don't see the reason if a commissioner or a mayor vetted somebody that is a taxpaying resident and they want to serve, why they should be delayed and then disengaged and derailed from wanting to serve because of a silly clerical deadline.
Because
I'm
it's not
going to
All right,
respectfully
can I say
disagree.
something real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I understand both points and I appreciate the points being brought up. I'm fine with going through the process. I think the concern here is people who have applied online. This is not the first time it happens. It's happened multiple times, and there's a possibility that maybe the issue could be the system in the back end where maybe people are applying and something's happening where people are falling through the cracks. This is not the first time it happens again. This has happened before, like maybe a year or it's happened more than twice. I know that for sure. Multiple
Right,
times.
but without the
So
clerk
the point
having the
is,
name, they
I'm
can't see
I'm
what
not finished.
happened.
I'm not finished. So
Yeah.
so the point with that is, if we have a process where people are submitting applications online and those applications aren't coming forward, I would like to see 2 things. Number one, I want to know the name of every person who applied. And if they're not on the list, I want to know why. Number one. And then number two, how can we have a record of who's applying? Because apparently there's some form that's submitted into somewhere on a website, but we don't have access to that. So how do we know that? Does that make sense? Like this is how people have fallen through the cracks. So, this is not a blame game. It's not about blaming anybody at all. It's just about finding an opportunity for improvement where we can say, okay, this has been an issue. How can we fix it? And if there's a possibility of fixing it, it's having a record. Like every time you submit something on a website, there should be a record or a timestamp that could be in the back end. That's simple stuff. Like we should be able to have access to see, like, if somebody applied, or obviously giving city clerk a list or where we could request that information in the future. And again, if somebody does not make the cut, then we should be notified as to, okay, so and so applied, these 5 people applied, only 3 of them qualified, so these are the names. That's it.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think though it's important to find out if you know a specific person, so then the clerk's office can go back and see what did happen. Either the application didn't go through or whatever. But if we don't have a starting point of a name to see where the process is failing, then how do we fix the process? So that's my point. Go ahead.
I can only speak on the second part of this. Because when I did apply for the senior advisory board and it was put on the agenda, but I never did get any confirmation that, hey, you're on the board. And I didn't also know the board wasn't notified that I was on the board. So I had to sit in the first meeting as a public member, not a board member. So I do think that there needs to be some revamping on the complete follow through on that sense, because I can only speak on the after part.
And I certainly agree with that. Um, Fix the problem,
Right.
not circumvent at this point and create more problems. That's my position. And I just
And I don't
feel
feel like
wherever,
social
if that
media.
means some kind of acknowledgement process or whatever it takes to correct the loophole or the people falling through the crack or whatever it is, we got people smart enough to fix this problem and just fix the problem and we move on. But I still don't go along with this idea of just the commissioners vetting them. That's not your job. Okay. So I still keep my position as far as fix the problem and let's move on.
And
My
I'd
job
also
is
like
serve
to
the
see our
community.
digital media campaign and social media be
Right.
announcing this more often.
I agree.
So that people do know. And, you know, I've been sending out to my list, which I think is like 9,000 people, you know, and I can do that. But I do think it's something that on our commissioner side and mayor side, we have to communicate with our constituents about this as well. And it's something that we can just share if the city puts it up. It could make it easy for all of us.
Are you saying to each commissioner notify their district?
Well, I think that if you could share it on social media or bring it up at Carolyn Sims or when we're out at these events, it would be nice to mention that there are these vacancies and the process of how to apply to it. So I did an event in Leisureville. You know, there was one at Carolyn Sims the other night. The next one, we should definitely mention that there. I think that we're missing opportunities, but I think on the digital side, if the city was asking for it more, it makes it much easier for us to just share that information on our platforms.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just wanted,
definitely.
yeah, I agree with that, Mayor. We could, but I just want to establish the point that we're not just a commissioner for our district. We're commissioners for the city of Boynton Beach. We need to get a generic acknowledgement system that we notify these people, or they can go on and see the timestamp or whatever. But I'm not gonna be notifying everybody in District 2. Say that up front.
No, I agree.
I will mention it at the community meeting at the end of the last Monday of the month. I would do that certainly. But I just
Well,
think
I
we
think
need
that
to,
if we were like responsive to our constituents when we get
Yeah,
hundreds of emails, and even when they're expressing concerns about how they can be more involved, that's a perfect opportunity to say, you know, we do have these opportunities for you to be more involved, and they get the link.
exactly. I agree.
yeah, I agree. Definitely, we are not commissioners subject to just districts only. I can't tell you for the last few years how often I have to field concerns and phone calls and emails from the Inca community. So, yeah, totally agree with you.
All right, so just to close the point, and again, I appreciate everybody's point that was mentioned today. I think that we might have an opportunity to have a little more transparency with the process if people start receiving an email when they apply to the advisory board, and when they're then they should also be notified if they're appointed. So as the mayor mentioned earlier, like, she was not informed when she became a board member or the board in itself. So maybe that could be something that we could work on. But definitely with the application process, when somebody applies, I think at a minimum, we should let people know, like, we have received your application for the advisory board. Doesn't mean you're appointed, but it just means it's received, so that people know, get some sort of a confirmation.
And if their application wasn't complete, I think we should let them know as well. And I don't know if you're already doing that on the city side, but again, you know, we have a lot of senior citizens that may be applying and have issues with the system. And if we can facilitate that and help them, that'd be good. If they just apply and they didn't meet the criteria because information was missing, you know, we might be missing some opportunities there of some good board members.
Um, so I have a suggestion. I should say suggestion. I'm sorry. What we can do is because we have like fixed um, where when somebody does apply, we do acknowledge it and we send that to I've told them, hey, your application is going to be on this commission meeting, a specific commission meeting, if you would like to come in. And then afterwards, we are sending them the letter saying you have or you haven't been approved. But what we can possibly
Does
do is
somebody have the TV on?
on that same letter that shows who's being appointed, maybe I can have at the bottom did not qualify or uh, and maybe a list at the bottom that just says applied, but there is no position open for the specific advisory board that they applied for, something like that. So that way, at least you guys can see that these people applied, but there was a reason why. It's up to you
And
guys.
maybe they want to apply to a different one.
Yeah, and we do typically tell them like, hey, there's no application, there's no positions for these boards, but these boards are open over here, and we have the list of the boards that are available, and the list is updated every time we have a commission meeting, and the advisory board is if there's a position that's filled, then we update it on our website as well.
I think that's a great idea. And in addition to
Yes.
that, could we automate it? Because I know it takes time from city clerk's office to send those emails, and it's great, but on an application sense, like if at submittal, kind of like when you order something on Amazon or whatever, you get an email automated, like we've received your application, simple. That's it. And then after the fact, if they're appointed or not, that's something that city clerk can handle. But an automated email, I think, would be beneficial, at least so people know it went through. And if they don't get an email, then they know it didn't go through and they can do it again.
I can talk to IT on that part. I'm not sure on the back end what has to happen for that, but I can speak to IT in regards to that.
Yes, if you could ask them and maybe let us all know via email what the real process is and the follow-up and how we can adjust it, then we can keep moving.
Right. And I think mainly if you talk to IT and our system is so old and antiquated that it can't do the things that we need to do in order to be accountable and have these checks and balances, then that needs to come back before us too, because then we need to make a decision on how to address this issue going forward, because I have a feeling it's going to come down to, unless you're manually doing these emails and you're manually doing all this stuff, we're going to have a difficult time with the current software, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Is that someone's TV or something?
Sounds like CNN.
Hey, Dan, you want to keep moving?
Good to go?
Good to go.
All right. Oh, we're going to start with item 6A. I'm going to go through these chronological order. Again, like always, if you guys have any questions, please stop me and we'll go back to that item. Some of these are going to be reoccurring annual items that they'll probably look familiar to some of you guys. The first item, 6A, that's going to be a reimbursement through IPTM. They put on the bike training at the University of North Florida. For the police department, that's going to be a reimbursement for overtime whenever we have officers that are participating in any sort of bike operation. 6B is amending the city's procurement policy. I'm going to turn it over to Andrew R. I know he's on a plane. Andrew, if you can, I know the mayor spoke about this at the last commission meeting. We brought this forward. Andrew, can you hear me? I know you're on a plane right now, so.
You guys can hear me all right?
No, we can't. Alan, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can take it. So this really gets, we've been looking at all
Better
this.
now?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you now, Andrew.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Andrew.
All hold on 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so we have a resolution to basically increase the 3 quote threshold to $75,000. After reviewing the market conditions and how everything is, we feel that it's really in the best interest of the city to do so, and also to expedite the operations. It would allow us to get a lot more stuff done. I also want to let you guys know that we are preparing a transparency dashboard. Right now, I've moved the purchase orders online so everyone can see them, and I plan on moving more of all the spend that we've basically spent throughout the year. I want everything to be more transparent to everybody. That's basically, in a nutshell, what I have to say.
All right, any
I
questions?
love the transparency dashboard. I think that's great. Thank you, Andrew.
Yep, no problem.
All right, moving on to 6C. This is the Literacy AmeriCorps. This is an annual thing we do with the library. We get a reimbursement. I want to say it's right around $60,000. 6D. This is going to be adopt the city's Boynton Beach Community Redevelopment Block Grant 4th year annual action plan. We spoke about this several times. If you guys have any questions, I have Candace Walls online, and also have RJ. Do you guys have any questions in reference to the CDBG?
Okay. Can we open the attachment? I don't know if I see it. I think I see the general agenda. Thank you.
Can you blow that up a little bit? Okay, that's good.
I remember discussing this before. Is this kind of like the same thing that we discussed before?
Yeah, I think Commissioner Cruz, I think this is the result of what your
Yeah.
proposal was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Correct,
Moving
yes.
everything forward.
Okay.
So
I
RJ
looked
is
at
on
it
the
earlier
correct.
today, and it looked good to me. It
Yes,
was
this is
exactly
what you guys
Commissioner
decided on
proposed.
with
Yes,
RJ's
that,
presentation, and this is just where
beautiful.
you have to go and approve it, so we can go ahead and finally submit. But RJ's on if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. No. I do remember that discussion, and I remember we discussed specific amounts, and I'm fine with it. Thank you for opening the attachment.
All right, guys. Moving on, we're going to start with consent bids and purchases. 7A. I'm going to be approve a purchase order with JC White Interior Architectural Projects in the amount of $129,000, utilizing a piggyback from Florida contract for the purchase of 450 event chairs and 45 stacking chairs for Arts and Cultural Center. This is part of our construction project that we're doing with the audio visual. The chairs that we had really didn't fit the aesthetic of the venue, so getting these new chairs is definitely going to add to the whole, as far as like the overall environment and the feel whenever we have events there. I want to say the finished product should be ready between December 9th and December 25th. So that's going to be a very, very exciting project. It's going to be similar to the Christ Fellowship auditorium that those of you who have went over there to Christ Fellowship Church, it's definitely a nice venue. So looking forward to that. Any questions as far as that 7A is concerned? All right, 7B, this is going to be an RFP award for pre-chlorinated pipe bursting portable water mains to Murphy Pipeline Contractors. And this is going to be a $10 million contract over the next 5 years. This is through utilities. Is Dr. Calcott on? If you guys have any questions in reference to the pipeline. 7B. 7C, this is going to be a sole source agreement with Smart Cover Systems for remote sewer monitoring services in the amount not to exceed $140,000. This is going to help as far as monitoring a lot of our flows through our sewer system. I know those of you who were around probably 2 years ago, you remember we had a sewer leak into the intracoastal where DEP fined us, and that was a whole investigative aspect that we had to kind of look. And this is also going to help us monitor a lot of those flows. So, and Andrew, you said it was I guess is a very new technology.
Yeah, this is something new that they've been developing. It's going to help us monitor our flows in our sewer system, like you mentioned. It'll also help us when we're having peak flows and infiltration from stormwater. We'll be able to isolate that, and then we'll have a better idea where we're going to do that lining that you guys were just talking about. So this is it's a newer technology. We're excited to see this deployed, and hopefully we'll get this in soon.
And can I mention one more thing? This is Poonam. We can move these around. So the idea is the areas that we know that sometimes we'll get a lot more flow after a rainstorm. We can move these to those locations, and then we're buying 15 right now, deploy them, and we'll start monitoring, and then we can move them to other areas. This will also, once we know what the control flow is, and just remember that going to the wastewater plant, we pay by how much flow goes there. So the more flow we have there, that also increases the cost for us. So that'll help in there too.
All righty, moving on to 7D. If you guys have seen we've been allocating some funds to our wastewater treatment facility. This is also with that. This is to have some improvements to our water quality lab. I went over there probably about a year ago with Andrew, and we definitely need to look at some improvements. And this is just allocating some of those funds for those improvements, especially in the lab. 7E is going to be approving an increase to the annual expenditures. And if you guys heard me before the meeting started, I talked about some of these annual increases, and I had Andrew R. kind of hit on them. He's been doing a great job as far as from a procurement standpoint, going and looking at some of these allocations. And I know Commissioner Cruz brought up mid-year budget amendments and things like that. This is us looking at these budgetary items and increasing it to where it's going to be more like standard as far as some of the demand that we're seeing as far across the board. So this is going to be for our tire recaps and retreads for our commercial vehicles in solid waste and the fire department. We got another one at 7F. This is going to be Cintas Corporation. This is going to be in reference to a lot of our medical supplies that we see all around City Hall, and some uniforms. And I want to say they have a portfolio of differing things that they offer the city. So if you guys want me to open that one, I'll open that one. 7G is going to be the amendment to the piggyback agreement between the city and Everon Technology Integration Security System, increasing the annual expenditure from 150 to 200,000. This is going to be Everon was formerly ADT. This is for our fire alarms and for our security in all of our city buildings. 7H is going to be a $20,000 increase to the total expenditures for Vinny's Auto Body Shop, resulting in a revised annual not to exceed the amount of $70,000. Again, if you guys have any questions as far as these increases, I've had Andrew on, and whenever he was going through these are recommendations that we kind of need to get done for general housekeeping and operational purposes. 7I is going to be an amendment to contract 2511 for Town Square City Facilities Maintenance Services between City and ABM Industries for removing landscape maintenance services and renewing the agreement through August 10th. 7J, approving the increase in expenditures for NMS management services from 45,000 to an amount not to exceed 70,000. Andrew, what was NMS again? I can't remember.
This is our drug testing.
Yeah, this
service.
is and this is mandated through state statute 440. So we have to maintain our drug testing. And again, this is something that should have been done a few years ago, to where if an employee, CDL driver, officer, anyone like that gets into an accident, or whether or not it be a personal injury or it be an automotive accident that results in industry, we send them for randomized drug testing. 7K, going to be trading the city's existing 2008 fire apparatus for $350,000. This is going to be to offset the cost of the new SPH 100 unit currently on order from Setman Corporation. Chief Bruder, are you on?
Yes, sir, I am. Yeah, that's actually a savings to the purchase of that apparatus from a trade-in. We're going to be utilizing some of those funds for a logistics vehicle, and the rest gets to go back into the fleet fund.
Right. Appreciate it. 7L, I know the mayor, you had questions about this earlier today. I wanted to know, Andrew reached out to you. Did he satisfy your questions as far as those annual piggybacks that we listed?
Yes. We talked about examples, we're good.
Okay. All right. Moving on to 8A. This is a second reading. Amanda, did we have any changes at all from the first to the second reading as far as 8A is concerned?
No, there were no changes. This is that simple one-word text amendment, changing when we're collecting the fee to do it at issuance instead of submittal.
Okay, 9A is a city manager report. So I've heard a couple of things, and the reason why I put this on here is because from an administrative standpoint, I'm seeing quite a few complaints come from especially the east side of the city when it comes to parking. And I was talking with Andrew, and Andrew had seen that the village of Wellington, they do some creative things with their parking fines and stuff like that. And I've seen members of the community, they'll send me pictures and things like that of sometimes there's got to be 20 cars at one residence. There'll be semi trailers parking in residence. I don't feel from the city standpoint, and we can pull up our current ordinance if you can click on this item 9A. I think we can, again, this is up to the board, but I think we can do a lot of things for enhancing some of these parking issues, especially on the east side of the city. It's not so much a HOA like concerning, but it like a perfect example, you got a semi trailer. These are the type of parking incidents that I see that are coming through, and this is a portion of them. There's quite a few, but these are non-HOA communities that you're seeing this in.
That's
If it
my
was,
street.
yeah, if it's in a HOA, the HOA, they can do in addition to, and they can fine and tow and things like that. And you see this type of things where you have a certain aesthetic standard, but if you don't have an HOA in their bylaws, essentially what you have to do as a community, if you're not a homeowners association, you got to rely on city's code enforcement to enforce those. And I think the parking aspect is low hanging fruit. I think that we can kind of look at Wellington and some of these other cities and try to maybe mirror some of the teeth that they have from their code. I've talked to some people, and I'll bring up the city of Pompano Beach. They were experiencing some of these parking issues, and they enhance their code enforcement. And a lot of the turnover, those of you who haven't been to Pompano in quite some time, between the CRA and code, they really turned that city around, especially on the east side. And I would like the board to kind of look at this as maybe something that we can mirror and we can kind of go forward on. So that's my idea. Andrew kind of told me about the different municipalities located and with what Wellington was doing. I think it's something that I've heard the mayor talk about as far as cleaning up the east side and doing some beautification. Some of these parking issues, what you guys just saw is probably about maybe 10% of what I've been sent. And it's definitely concerning. And at nighttime and evening hours, it can be an issue from a public safety standpoint as far as like some of our fire engines getting access to some of these roadways. Having too many residents inside of a home sometimes when you have like between 15 and 20 cars. Now, the other thing that I brought up is if there's house parties or a special event or something like that, they can, what we can do is we can do an online permit and we can make it very simplistic to where if they're going to have a party, they can have a permit and they can have special permissions for 3 days for additional parking and they can apply for that. And that's some of our thought processes as far as like if you do have perfect example, if you have a funeral and after the funeral typically there's a house designated or a location where you're going to have quite a few people that are parking, weddings, birthday parties, things like that. But when it's this constant day-to-day activities and you have semi trucks parking in residential, I've seen like 18-wheeler semi trucks parked in residential areas that I'm driving around the city because I've lived here for 20 years. And it's something that I think we need to look at from a board perspective and maybe give staff the ability to have the enforcement opportunity to try to clean some of this stuff up.
Dan?
100%.
I support this obviously 100%, and I've been getting many emails and actually a hard package of a lot of these issues, and it's become, now that school is starting, it's becoming even more of a concern because when it is dark and the kids are out there, they're having to meander between multiple cars, not being able to walk on the side of the road, and the buses can't get through.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you,
then,
Beth.
Yeah,
That's a great idea as well.
On First Avenue, there were sidewalks put in, I don't know how many years ago, but first, second, they're completely cracked from multiple cars, even in front of 115, the apartment complex, which that has been solved. Thank you to everyone in the city. But the damage on the sidewalks it's done.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the kids
Dan-
have to walk into the road because all the cars are parked in the sidewalk where there's 14 couches along the sidewalk.
Vice Mayor,
But
hey,
I'm
you had,
all for it, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
you notice it. That way, no one's blindsided. You do the warnings and then enforcement. That's it.
I agree
You
as
know,
well. I think it's a great
accountability
idea
starts
and
with
thank you
ourselves.
for, yep, I think
Starts with
it's a
ourselves.
great idea for bringing that up. Definitely support that. Is there a way to implement a maximum number of cars per household? Like,
I think there is.
okay,
There is, or there's some municipal, like, when some municipalities allow one car extra per
Bedroom.
bedroom,
Okay.
or per square footage, but I defer to city staff to do some more of that investigation. But
That
that's
would be
how it can
great.
be controlled, or that it's also, you're just not allowed to park on all of the grass and the road unless it's a special occasion. So if you have a driveway, that fits three cars, and then there's a special occasion, if somebody's there for, I guess, dinner or something. I don't know how all that works because I don't think somebody should be penalized if they're parking right in front of someone's house. And, I've done that in the Meadows, I park right in front of someone's house in there. The only other place that I really see it being a problem is Boynton Lakes North. I mean, they have, and I know they're governed by an HOA, but it's a very
Yeah.
loosey-goosey HOA. And so
Yeah.
you go there and at 5, 6, 7 in the morning. And also, so most of these problems are happening When you'll see 9 or 10 cars on 9th and 10th, and I ask anyone to, I know you don't want to get up at 4 in the morning, but take a drive. But by sunlight, they're gone, and then they're back
Yeah.
again at night.
Yeah.
Again, this is kind of like our first venture into this, and I've gotten with a few of you guys saying I think we need to kind of pinpoint 4 or 5 different ordinances that we can kind of look that really are going to have a significant impact on some of our neighborhoods, and I think this is definitely needs to be the tip of the spear. So that's why me and Andrew kind of looked at this and thought it was the right move to kind of move in that direction. And when we're done with this one and we kind of revamp it, we'll start looking at others as well.
Dan, I just want
Thank
to
you.
chime in and say that I have I support this 110%, but I just wanted to share, I've got a nursery across the street from me, which they park on both sides of the street. Then down the street from me, there's a party going on, and they parked on both sides of the street. I have to navigate my way through there, and sometimes I can't get through at all. So I know doggone well that an emergency, fire department, police department, or whomever could not bring a truck through there. So I'm glad we're taking us another look at this because it is far overdue.
Hopefully, hopefully I don't have another gentleman that comes to every commission meeting calling me the police chief. All right, so
No,
10A.
you want you to resign and become the police chief.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. We have 10A, 10B, and 10C. These are all items that, if you guys remember, whenever the commission, we had some re-elections and some turnover. What we were doing is giving the commission the ability to waive certain appointment requirements. So that's putting the power back into the commission's hands if you guys want to waive some of these requirements. 10B, this is going to be again another thing that the mayor she brought forth. I believe it was Commissioner Turkin, and you guys had said maybe making like enhancing some of the number of petitions that are required and signatures and the campaign filing fees and the signed bonds, things of that nature. And 10C, this is you guys providing us names for the Charter Review Committee. And we got everyone's name with the exception of Commissioner Cruz. We don't have your name yet. So if you want, you can provide it now, or either maybe after the meeting, you can get with Maylee and provide a name to her.
Thank you. I did reply today to saying the city attorney, and I just asked, do you guys just need a name or a name and an address?
No, just a name is fine. Just a
Okay.
name is fine.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
I'll reply to your email and provide the
Okay,
name.
great.
I wanted to make sure if I needed to give you any more info.
No, no,
Thank you.
thank you.
Now, I just went over 10A, B, and C. Is there any one of those you guys want to talk about? And definitely, now, again, first readings, obviously, they're there. If we need to make amendments or changes to it, we can do that in between the first and the second reading. Second reading with a public comment. So again, none of these items are written in stone, so we can also always make changes and amendments in between the readings. So if there's anything you guys want to bring up, just let me know.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Sorry,
No, go ahead.
Commissioner.
Go ahead.
The only, on 10A, the one thing that I had, we had all agreed about having it restricted to Boynton Beach residents. And I think this waives, that, residency requirement, and I didn't think that that really fell in what we had agreed to previously. So I wanted to just bring that up, that I really prefer, when it comes to these boards, that they're, residents, business owners, they're invested in our community, serving on these boards.
Agree with you, Commissioner Kelly.
This
Okay.
waiver, but this is situational, right? This isn't a blanket waiver.
No, it's situational and they have to come before the board, but the intent behind it was, You know, you may have a very prominent business owner
Mm.
who is involved but doesn't physically live in the city. And in that situation, you may want to waive the residency requirement. So it just gives you the ability to do that, but the entire commission has to agree to it.
Okay.
But Shauna, I thought that some of the boards had it where they could either be a resident or a business owner. So maybe that's what we need to clarify, because there were some that, because of the type of qualifying, requirements, we could, it was like you can't have everything. I get that. But I thought it's already written that they have to be a resident or a business owner within the city. So maybe we can talk about that offline, but that was
Okay.
my, that's my position on that.
Yeah, there are, but there might be other, this just gives you freedom to, appoint someone if you feel they're qualified, if you're having trouble getting people. But again, it would have to be a consensus of the commission. So, it's on a case by case basis that this may come up. But however you guys want it written, we'll make sure we get that covered.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, well listen, it's 7 o'clock. That's all I have. If you guys want to bring up anything for staff that you guys want us to look at.
Yes, I had, this is, Commissioner Kelly. There was some, when we had budget meeting, there were, two things that I was going to ask, the board to kind of get a consensus on some feasibility studies, and we were rushing through the meeting and I totally forgot. So I wanted to kind of ask, just throw it out there to see if it's something that the board would agree to. We have two pretty significant intersections in District 4 that have turned into be problematic, and they're county intersections, county roads. And so in talking with staff, and we thought that the best angle, or the best way to move forward to try and put some pressure on the county to really look at these intersections was for us as a city to do feasibility and warrant studies on those two intersections. One is Knight Road, which is the intersection at Sea Meadow, where we've had 4 of our senior residents died in car crashes at that intersection. And the other one, which is now, it has a pedestrian crossing light, but the residents, as well as, me and Commissioner Weiss had all really pushed for them to make that an actual, working traffic light, and county traffic engineers declined. So that's a problem intersection that I would like to get, some consensus on being able to budget to do those feasibility and warrant studies. And the other one is High Ridge and Minor, where we've seen a significant increase in traffic. We have 2 schools where we have children accessing that intersection that it's a single stop sign intersection. And it becomes quite a mess during peak school hours. So we thought that, we own part of Minor Road and the county owns the other part. And so we thought this would be a great way to get information in front of the county to try and get them to really look at these intersections and take them seriously and the issues we're having.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Fine by me.
This is fantastic, Commissioner Kelly. The people at Sea Meadows are going to be thrilled that you're engaging in this too, because they have been rejected from the county, and I think if we can step up on the city level or do anything we can,
Yeah.
because just honestly, it comes down to there hasn't been enough deaths.
Right.
If more
Oh yeah,
fatalities
absolutely.
come,
Yeah.
then they'll do it, and that's what their report says. But
Right.
they can't even. They did change the timing on the light, so that because people couldn't
longer.
even.
Yeah.
They did change that, so there was
Yeah.
some progress there. And then Andrew, I think you sent someone out to fix the sidewalk, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly. So, we're almost there, but this is something that is so out of our hands at this point without the proper
Yes.
data. But if there's anything we can do to fix it, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a we've done everything that we can get the county to do as far as new signage and new lighting and new alert systems and all this stuff. They've been willing to spend that money, but this is a struggle. So, you know, the law allows them to make exceptions when you're talking about a senior community, but so I think we just need to keep on them and keep putting the pressure. And so this was something that staff had recommended. So, thank you guys for supporting this.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, Commissioner Kelly. I've been sort of noticing the High Ridge and the Mine Road one myself. And I think one of the top priorities that we all agree with is safety in our city.
Yeah.
And I think we need to really do everything within our power to put pressure where we can. The other one, Dan, as I'm going east on MLK and Seacrest, that light stays on about 2 or 3 seconds. And if I'm in the second car, and I'm not kidding you, if I'm the second or third car, I won't make it through that light when it changes to go east to west. So I know that's also a county road. Am I correct? But
Yes,
that
you are.
needs, I guess the bottom line is what do we have to do to put a few more seconds on that? Now it's okay when it's going north and south on Seacrest. You know, the time is fine. But once you change, if you travel on MLK, I'm telling you, it stays on about 2 to 3 seconds and it's back on red. So I'd like to see what we can do about that.
I'll reach out to the county vice mayor and see what they can look at the timing as well as the loops. It might be that the traffic loops have failed, which is not triggering enough time. So I'll get on that tomorrow and I'll get you an update.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, just so everyone knows too, Hulk Hogan passed away. Floridian, great wrestler. You know, one of my heroes as a kid. So I just want to do a moment of silence.
One of mine too.
Man,
One of mine
Hogan
too.
was.
Doing one for Commissioner Costello.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yep,
Yes.
yep. Commissioner Casello, yep.
That was a
Yeah,
shame.
I got the invitation for that on the 20th. Yeah, I can definitely growing up in a trailer park as a young kid with barely anything. I remember watching wrestling like when I thought it was real. Friggin' Hulk Hogan was an icon, but yeah, definitely.
Wait, it's not real?
Stop it.
I thought my own mom would really injure herself the way she was into it. She was a smoker with Winston cigarettes, and man, she'd be eating up those cigarettes like it was tobacco. You know, she gets so excited about those things. And I just watched her than looking at the wrestling. She was more entertaining. So, but he was one of my heroes too, you know, and
Yeah.
but I agree with you.
Hey, real quick,
I do-
huge chiming in, if I may, real quick. We also want to name, Fire Station 3, new Fire Station 3, once it's built. We'll dedicate it in honor of Joe Casello.
I think
Thank
that's
you,
an
Hugh.
excellent idea. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Thank you, Hugh, for bringing
Yeah.
that up.
Thank you.
This is
Yeah.
mainly, I just wanted to let you guys know because of that, the county is going to have a special election. I have the dates in my office, but I can I'll let everybody know, especially PD, just to have a heads up because whatever precincts are within the district, those will be open here in our city since most of it's within the district. So that will be very soon. And they're
Would
gonna
that
go ahead.
would that be a cost to us, Maylee?
No, it's not a cost to us at all.
Good.
But I do like to have the city, I'm kind of on standby just in case if there's any issues. They always call me as to come in and go directly to the precincts, since I know the locations and everything. And then I always make sure the PD is aware of it in case there's any issues. So just giving you guys a heads up that there will be a special election very
Isn't
soon.
it, isn't it
September.
qualifying in September and the elections after that, December?
Qualifying is
Yeah.
August, the primary
Ugh.
is in
September 30th.
September, and the special elections in December.
And they will have early election voting. So for that special election, we just don't have the dates on the early voting just yet. They didn't give it to me when I was at a training last week.
Yeah, it still says TBD on the website.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So-
Have a good
Thanks.
night.
So real
Thank you.
quick, guys, real quick, I just want to put something out real quick. I guess there was 24 kilos of cocaine that just washed ashore that the PD just seized. So
Here in Boynton?
yeah, here in Boynton. Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Hmm.
So that was definitely significant.
Yeah.
And they
That's
caught the they
And
caught
they
the
caught the Chapel
Amazon.
Hill shooter.
Yeah, the Chapel Hill shooter, the Amazon review shooter. So left a bad
What-
review. You got your house shot up.
That's funny. Was it like a joint effort with other departments, or was it agencies, or was it just?
I mean, the chief of police is on. I'm sure he's got more specific information. So
Yeah, I'm here. In reference to the seizure of the cocaine, that was on Operation Stone Garden. So it is a joint operation with the Sheriff's Office and Customs Border Patrol. As far as the Chapel Hill shooter, that was a joint effort between the Sheriff's Office, Ocean Ridge, and Delray. I think there was a total of 15 different places shot up. There's still apparently a few more. We had a total of 4 in our city, 2 in Chapel Hill, 1 at the True Leave at by the Home Depot, and another one over in the Meadows. That was back in like March. So
Hey,
in
Dan.
case
I just got an email from Deanna Brinkman. I guess she's online, and we don't do public comment for these agenda reviews, correct?
no.
No.
So I'm gonna forward this to you, and can you just delegate it to staff about like some sidewalks? I'll forward this email to you.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Ah.
All right. Anybody else got anything?
Nope.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good
All
night.
right, guys. Have a
See you
good night.
Tuesday.
Thank you. Good
See you
night.
Tuesday.
Bye, guys.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.